Hello and welcome to your Living A Course in Miracles call. My name is Jared Krebs and I'm in San Antonio, Texas. And today we have a special guest, Cate Grieves from Melbourne, Australia. She is an enlightened, awesome, wonderful Course in Miracles teacher that I am so glad that I've gotten to meet throughout my journey. And I want to thank you, Cate, publicly for being such a wonderful mentor and friend and for putting out such great wisdom and knowledge on Facebook. Today, we want to really hear your story. I know some people don't know your story, so we want to know kind of a little bit of your background, how you found the course, how like your own journey in the last several years, and then we'll open it up for questions. And like always, we have people ask a question for like a minute. Cate's response is 2 minutes, and we'll kind of try and keep it moving so we can have as many questions as possible. Cate, welcome to the show.
Hey everyone, thank you. Thanks for having us. Lovely to be here.
Oh,
Wonderful. Welcome, joining in the mind, right? So first of all, I was feeling this really strong guidance to just say something at the start of
okay.
this talk today, and it's really just to present this just the highest truth of the course, which is you are as God created you. You can't be an ego. It's impossible for you to be an ego. You never were an ego. And you are the magnificent, beautiful love of God. Our true self is the most gorgeous love. And that's all there is. So anytime we're not feeling that beautiful, gorgeous, vast love and just this explosion of love all the time, just loving everyone, loving everything, just oneness, just this beautiful oneness, we are in a dream state that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It can't exist because God has no opposite. And what we're finding ourselves in seems real and true, but it's not. It has no reality because God, being this beautiful love, God's not a tyrant. God is just the essence of this love and happiness. It's just oneness. So I just first of all wanted to just say that absolute truth. You know, you hear about the tiny mad idea and blah, 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 and then how to get out of the tiny mad idea. But, you know, we seem to go into something and we have to come out of it. So the whole course is a ladder out of a place we're not really in, but we think we're in. So we're like in a hole trying to get out through a ladder, and we have to go out the ladder. But, you know, there's someone at the top of the hole saying, you've never been in a hole. You're not in a hole. You don't have to try to sort the hole out. You just have to say, the hole's not real. I'm love. I'm not this body having this experience in this world. I'm not in a world where I have to try to be someone. This idea that I'm a person is all made up. We're never a person. We can't be a person. This person is not real. It's made up of a set of beliefs about a character. The character called Cate was made up of a set of beliefs. Beliefs are like air in a balloon. And if you don't have any beliefs in your mind, any fear, any resentments, any grievances, any beliefs, all the air comes out of the balloon and it's empty. The balloon is empty. So while we believe the ego and give it life, we're blowing up the balloon, but it's emptiness, looking like it's something. So the truth is that we're giving life to something that has no reality, that I'm unworthy and I'm this and I'm that. That's all absolute rubbish. We're already whole. And so the message of the course constantly is you are as God created you. Just remember that. And in lesson 189, he says, simply do this. And he gives us instructions. He doesn't say spend years trying to do this. He says, just do this. Simply do this. Let go of everything. You can do it now. You can say, I'm done with the past. I'm done with everything. I'm going to come to my natural state of being. There's no sacrifice in being in your natural state. You're going to have this most wonderful, quiet mind. The mind, I mean, we sort of put this term enlightenment on a pedestal, but it's most natural way to be. It's simply so natural. It's simply to be without fear or grievances because you've decided to not give them any life. You've just said, no, I'm not interested in that. And you simply live in a mind free of fear and regret and worry and depression and anxiety. You simply live in what they call emptiness, but it's empty of those things, and it's simply a tranquil mind. It's just free. And what replaces it is just this feeling of this all-encompassing love. This love just comes in, but it doesn't come in, it's blocked because we're entertaining all these ideas and beliefs that aren't true. So we have to just let them go. And when you let them go and you come back to your natural state of just this pure love, this divine, infinite love that we are, and people say, you're enlightened, you just say, actually, I'm just happy. I'm just actually just happy. And it's simple happiness. And it's not special. It literally is not special to be as you are. And you don't have to do anything to get there. You just have to stop entertaining the thoughts that are false about you, all the thoughts that tell you about how bad you are and terrible, and you need to seek for something. They're all untrue. So that's the final result. That's the final saying. And I was really guided to deliver this message, this high message. You cannot be anything other than you are. It's impossible. You can't be sick. It's impossible to be sick because you're in a state that it can't be, because the Son of God cannot be anything other than what he was created as. And so that message is all through the Course. And we just have to say, I accept myself as what you're telling me, Jesus, you're telling me who I am. I'm not going to try to be, I'm going to stop seeking, and I'm just going to come to this moment and be who I am. I'm just going to say, okay, I am this. I am this love. I'm naturally this love. And, there's nothing to get here. There's nothing to be. There's nothing to do to prove. You don't have to seek to get approval because you already are whole. We're already whole. We're already complete. We're already absolutely perfect. We're already this most beautiful love, this created as this divine being. And that's it. And we just have to, that simply do this. He just simply says, just let go of everything and come to your God, which means just come to this mind free of all this rubbish that's not true. So that's the direct pointing there.
Well, this concludes tonight's meeting. Thank you all. But you really summed it up. I mean, that was a great way to start the meeting, reminding us who we really are and that we're not these bodies. And the way you just explained it, I'm going to watch the first 5-10 minutes of this on the recording because it's a great reminder what you just said. So thank you for opening with that.
So my journey is exactly like everyone's else journey. I just felt like, for me, I just called myself a spiritual dummy, right? I had no idea about spirituality. I knew that I was suffering. I knew that I had sickness, a depression, anxiety. I was seeking in the world. I came to see that there was nothing. I couldn't get anything. I couldn't get the love from others. I couldn't get my father's love. I couldn't get my mum to say the right things. I couldn't get my partners to do that. So I'm like, nothing's going right here. I worked in great organisations. I had great jobs, and nothing fulfilled me. I had sports cars. I had holidays. I had, I was wealthy, I was poor, I was everything in between. I've been sexually assaulted. My daughter was raped. I was pregnant as a teenager. I've had a couple of marriages. I've had, you know, I've had everything, and I've had um, um, what do you call it? Diet issues, bulimia. It basically everyone that comes to me, I've actually, like most of my life, I've had an alcoholic husband, I've had a daughter on drugs, so I've had a parent that's unloving. So everyone that presents to me with a story, I can relate to it. I say, yeah, I've had that. I've literally, like, my whole journey up until I was 50, 45, 50 years old, I've had, when somebody turns up and says, I've been sexually assaulted, I'll say, well, I can relate to that, so was I. And I say, I had bulimia. Yes, so did I. um, so I just seem to have had in this lifetime lots and lots of different experiences, but they all led to a culmination of me just, I was suicidal. I think I said last time on this, I just said there's nothing in this world that can make me happy. And I tried to commit suicide and it didn't work. I took about 16, 17 sleeping tablets, and, I just woke up fairly groggy. And I just remember thinking, um, I've got to do something different. I can't kill myself. It would be devastating for my children, even though I wanted out. So I just sort of, over the next 12 months, I thought to myself, my only other option is to do the Course in Miracles properly, absolutely properly, like not try to change one thing, like give it my life's work. So make the Course in Miracles my life's work and forget everything else. So that's really where I started. And so I made it that I would listen to or read something pretty much all the time. So I'd actually flood myself with Course in Miracles, just listening to teachers, reading Gary Renard's book mainly. I listened to Ken Wapnick a lot, listened to David Hoffmeister. I sprinkled around with other teachers. So my dedication, the reason why you will turn to the Course completely is when you've exhausted everything else. If you still think there's some happiness or some love to get from someone else here, you have to do that. You have to go there and try it out again and see it doesn't work. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you're going to a well that has no water in it over and over again, just saying, I'll try again. Or maybe this relationship or this job or, this next car or this next holiday, something, seeking something in an illusory world. But you can't know it's illusory. That experience of experiencing that this is an illusory world comes during a period of awakening. You go through a purification period. So I just I didn't have any connection to the Holy Spirit. I didn't feel I did. So it took me a lot of work consistently. I started to, I'll go through, because I want everyone to realise that there's nothing special about me. I didn't come into this world going, oh, I know the truth or something, or um, um, I just want to relate directly to you that you can do this if you really devote yourself to it. It takes a really big commitment. And your journey is up and down. You have a lot of doubt because you're going back to something that at the time you don't have any awareness of. So you have to develop a lot of trust. And that's why the development of trust section of the course is really important. So, and it takes as long as it takes. So while we feel ourselves to be these bodies in a world of separation, it takes as long as it takes to undo. But he uses our relationships. So for the people that are on my satsang group, that they know that Jesus says how we come to God is through a holy relationship with our brother. So I was given this blessing, this Christ blessing to do. This was given to me on my journey. And he said to me, I had to do it with this bully at work, right? And so one of the situations for me was everywhere I went in jobs, I worked as an accountant, and there would be somebody in the office that would seem to bully me, if not one person, sometimes two. And um, I moved jobs to try to get away from this particular one, and straight away, guess what? There's a bully, and I'm like, oh. So I was in a course group at that time. I was, new, sort of really. This was the start of the journey, and I remember saying to the guy that was hosting the group, um, it really doesn't matter where I go. I'm going to find a bully, aren't I? And he said, yes, because it's in you. And I said, okay, I'm hearing that, but that makes no sense to me, because it really feels like there's a bully there. So I couldn't see it. We can't see it. We have no awareness of that it's coming from us. It's so hidden, and so we're so unaware of what's in our mind, that we have to be willing to ask for it to be revealed to us. And our guide, the Holy Spirit or Jesus, will show us. So we have to work with our guides. He's going to work with us in our relationships, and we come to awakening through our relationships. So I said to the Holy Spirit, look, this bully, it seems very real. She seems like she's really attacking me. I feel like she hates me. I feel like she's probably going to get me sacked from my job. Um, and it looks very real to me. This world seems very real to me. I need you to show me how to undo this. I want this undone. I want to be able to go to work and not have these issues, right? I just wanted peace. I was so tired of conflict and depression and anxiety and sickness. I was so worn out by it all. I said, you know what? Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And he said to me, and this is going to be really beautiful for you all here, right? And I'm just going to quieten down so you can get into the vibration or the hearing of this, right? He said to me, what came into my mind was to imagine her sitting at her desk, and I was to go in there and wash her feet. And so I I just visualized myself going into her office, and I was always scared going into her office because I knew she'd snap at me generally. And I sort of went in, and I just saw her sitting. She'd sort of turned to the side, so her feet were sitting out the side on the side of her desk. And I bought a lovely bowl of nice warm water and a face cloth to wash her feet. And I just put her feet in there, and I started to wash them, and I could feel for myself this sort of softening of me, of my mind. I'd feel this sort of, this fear starting to drop away. And I would wash her feet, and I washed her feet, and I just could feel this sort of something just removing and dropping away. And then I started to, so that was that. And then the next night I'd do the same thing. And I started to do this visualization of going in there and washing her feet. So I do it every night in a quiet meditation. And one night, it was probably 3 or 4 nights later, it became easier to go into her office and, take her shoes off and start to wash her feet. And this particular night, I looked up, and it was me sitting there. I was washing my own feet, And I started crying, and he said, "This is all, everything you're seeing in this character is in you. You know, you're really dissolving something in your mind it's all being, because we can't see how we project this onto, we can't see it's within us. So he heals it within us by helping us come to a holy relationship with the brother that we're really having difficulty with. So I started to feel this softening, this defensiveness dropping away, this fear of entering her office. And then during the day, I was going to work, and as I walked past her office, I would say quietly in my mind, "I love you, I love you, I love you." And I could feel that was working as well. And what would happen, this one day she walked into, I was in the office with, there was three women. I was in the sitting in the middle, and she would come in, and she was a very tall, broad woman, and felt to me like she was like 8 foot tall, and, very like, sort of, in my mind, she was, but she was starting to sort of shrink down. And see, we can't see that it's all our projection. And this is what the Spirit has to show us and teach us how to reverse it. And He'll give us these little things to do. But if you feel this loveliness come, if you feel something moving that you would like to do this, when I share this, I say, you can do this too, because these are all things that the Holy Spirit got me to do. And this is just such a beautiful part of my journey that I'm sharing with you now. So what happened was, she came in this one day, and she was really upset with the receptionist of our company, and she was talking about trying to get her sacked. She was saying all these things, and I was saying to the Holy Spirit, this is really unfair. I know the receptionist, she's lovely, doesn't deserve all this unfairness, all this. And I heard these words from Jesus saying to me, just imagine that I've come into her body now. I've arrived, I'm in her body right now. What would you say? How would you feel towards her? And I could feel a lot of defensiveness just leave. And I'm like, oh, wow, if you were here in her body right now, I would just go up and hug you. But I knew that it wasn't a sort of appropriate for that, but I could feel this sense of, this love coming through for her, and he said, you need to look at everyone like that. You need to notice the contrast between how you were feeling about her before and how you feel about her now. So I could feel all this beautiful love coming out towards her, and saying, oh, imagine, Jesus is in her right now. And he taught me, he spent a lot of time over the next few days teaching me that this is the way to meet your brother, so there was sort of many different ways that he, released me from this idea of separation, that my brother is sinful or guilty, and he sort of said, so one of the things, when I was washing her feet, when I was doing that, one particular, it was sort of towards the end after I'd seen myself, and he'd said, this is you, this is, you're washing your own feet. There's only sort of one of us here, there's only oneness, and what you're seeing in her is actually in your mind, and I'm making you aware of it. And then what he did was he showed me all the things that I'd said about her and about my boss, who I worked next to. And I had been, my other friend, my work colleague that I've been sitting next to, we had instant messaging, and we were making fun of our boss all day long. We'd say, oh, look what she just did. Oh, she's an idiot, you know. And he showed me and he said, you are doing to them what you think they're doing to you. And he just showed me, he said, look, when you're instant messaging, you justify this criticism. You're not seeing anyone the way they are. You need to stop this. You're the one doing this. What you think they're doing to you, you're doing it. And you need to stop it. You need to cease. You need to see them as they are. And this is the way to heal your mind. So I was in this beautiful state of starting to see both my boss and this woman that worked in the next office as in this holy way. Then what happened was, it just happened that I got invited to this retreat. And it was sort of like 2 weeks later. And when I went to the retreat, I was one of they did an experiential of 12 of us on the retreat. And there were 6 chairs, and 6 of us had to sit on a chair, and each had a person behind them. If you've ever been on retreats, you do all these lovely experientials, where you extend love. And so the instruction was to just, put your hands. They played beautiful music, and we were just putting our hands. We could touch their hair. The person had to say if they didn't want to be touched in a certain way before we started. Anyway, so to start with, I felt to get up and do it to someone first. And then the second go was we all sat down, and the people that we'd touched went behind us. So when I sat down, the lady that was behind me, she put her hands on my shoulders. After about a few minutes, of course, I've got my eyes closed and sitting down, I'm just feeling really nice and relaxed. Anyway, she said that she had this guidance to go down and touch my feet. So I didn't hear her moving. She came around in front of me and she just put her hands on my feet. And as those hands were on my feet, I heard the voice. I opened my eyes and I looked at her, and I could just sort of see like this shining beauty in her eyes, and it was just like this divinity. And then I heard Christ's words, "Now I am washing your feet." And I just cried and cried and cried and cried. It was just so beautiful. It was so gorgeous. I just felt healed in that moment. I just sort of like, it was just so healing. And I just could feel this, 50 years of rubbish leaving me and just floating off into this divinity. And the lady that was running the retreat, she came up to me and she said, I was guided to do tonight, because this was a Saturday morning tonight, I was guided to do this washing of the feet experiential. So the whole weekend was, so we all laid on this yoga bed. We each took it in turns, and she had this beautiful scented oil and water and everything. And so the rest of us all stood around and put our hands on it. And when I came to wash the lady that was lying on the bed, it was my turn, and you stand there and you can just do it and just wash it. And it's just really this pouring out of love for your brother. I ended up drying her feet with my hair. I really felt this, just this whole giving over, just this whole blessing my brother, absolutely embracing her. Just, look, I'll use my hair to dry your feet. I've so much love for you. The love was just pouring out of me. And, it's just had this massive healing all through, because and this is how it came to be, that this was all part of this just releasing and letting go. Because this divine love, this Christ love, is just like nothing you can ever feel in this world. It's just so beautiful. And all we need to do, he says, this part is really simply to just say yes and just say, I'm ready. And so I'm so glad that I said yes. I'm ready, just heal my mind. I'm ready to cross the precipice of fear, and the thing is, the fear, it looks like a huge big wall of fire and flames, but it's nothing. And I can just, all I can do is offer you certainty that across this other side, it's just the most divine love, the most tranquil mind, a love that you've never experienced before. God is just this love, and Christ is just there to help us. He just leads us. We just have to be like, it's a little bit like those mosh pits where you're carried. All the hands underneath you are carrying you. All you need to do is let go, stop, just let go of everything you're doing and say, all right, I give up. All right, and just lie in the mosh pit and let all the hands carry you around. You just got to give up. You literally have to give up anything you're trying to do and just say, all right, do it. Just bring it on. So that's just one little part of my journey, but I had many instances like that on my freeing, releasing my mind.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's such a beautiful story. I know we can all relate. We all have people in our lives that are the bully or the whatever, situation that we are faced with. And looking at them like Christ and seeing them through the Holy Spirit's vision is the answer. And I think my takeaway from your story is that you asked for help. You asked the Holy Spirit for help to see this person that way, and like saying, Holy Spirit, I don't want to be right anymore. I don't want this. I don't want to be this way anymore. Help me see it this other way. And I think that's my takeaway from that is asking for help every day. So thank you for sharing that. It's a beautiful story. And is it okay if we turn it over to some questions now?
Sure.
Okay. So if you want to raise your hand, hit the raise your hand button, and then you can ask a question to Cate. I'll go first. But y'all know how to do that. And if you don't know how to raise your hand, just wave, and then and hello to your dogs. um,
I'm looking after my sister's dog. I'll just.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah, as well as mine.
So I'm going to do the whole like 1 minute timer, 2 minute response thing, but it's okay if it goes over, guys. But we'll try and keep it that way so we can get through as many questions as possible. So I'll start. So Cate, my question is about like when things are going well. Okay, like I know what to do when things are not going well. Um, I ask the Holy Spirit for help to see this person through the Holy Spirit's vision. I think you're completely innocent. You're completely loving. You're guiltless. You are the Holy Christ. I love you with all my heart. Like all the things you taught me. But when things are going well for me, like in like my business, I'm signing up all these people and I'm having fun and making money. And now I know I'm going to have a forgiveness opportunity soon, but I'm still in the illusion. I know, like I'm getting excited, and I know it's still an illusion. I know that it's not going to complete me or make me full or whole, but I'm still like in it, right? Like, and I'm working a lot these days. I'm reading the course less. I'm maybe living the course more, but I'm not reading the course. Can you just comment on like, I guess the I always run into like feeling guilty that I'm like making it real, or uh,
No,
things like that, you know?
don't feel guilty. It's always, the dream is always on, right? The dream is always on. It says, I always get the quotes from the course wrong, so just know that most quotes I say will be a little bit, out of line, so you don't have to correct me. But you'll know the quotes I'm sort of referring to. So um, now I've forgotten what I was going to say, but um,
Making it real, or something like that.
yes.
Things are going good.
So this is, I live probably, you can't help but um, live your life. Every day you're going to wake up, oh, it's awareness of dreaming. That's the thing. So if you can just say to yourself, this is just a dream. There's nothing to get. There's, like if you're aware that sometimes when you're asleep at night, you become aware of a dream. You don't have to say, oh, I'm really guilty for having this dream. You can just really, it's literally like, so just, you're not out of the dream. Like, I'm in the dream too. I'm here in the dream, what they call awake in the dream. But if you awaken from the dream, you wouldn't be in the dream. You wouldn't be here. So um as long as if you can say this is like a big stage play, and look at all the characters we're playing. I play the character of Kate, and I get up and I put, these clothes on, and, here I go playing my part today, and have fun with it. So have no guilt around it. I thought, the only thing that I really got mixed up was, I thought when you awakened, you disappeared, everything went to light. And no, I was still seeing what seemed to be the world. I just saw it differently. So calls it seeing the real world. So you'll see, so it's like you're still looking at the images, but your mind is healed of separation. So you're seeing everything as unified. It's not that it is unified. It's not like all the trees are merging, but your perception has changed. You see, like for me, I just saw that I was everywhere. I was the tree. I was, God was everything, and I was everything, and there was no separation. So you can't explain what it's like to have a unified thought. But getting back to answering your question, so I know I've got to be really quick here because we're up to 2 minutes. Okay. Um, enjoy your life. You're meant to live. You're meant to be full of life. I am just full of life. I've just put a vegetable patch in. I'm growing some veggies. I go for walks. I go for coffee. I've got my children, my grandchildren, my parents, my brothers, my sisters staying here. I live a normal life. The guidance was to be as normal as possible. It's about being fully alive and fully present, and just free, because the what I'm meant to represent, that he says I'm meant to represent, how it's meant to be. You don't have to have any special thing. You don't have to wear any special clothes or do anything special. We're meant to be. It's about living. So Jared, be happy. Do your business. Um, do whatever you like to do. Eat ice cream, and you know, go horse riding. Whatever you like to do, because nothing can change your true self. You can't do anything here to change your true, eternal, infinite, divine self. There's nothing. So just do whatever you like to do and enjoy it. Really, that's it.
But thank you. Thank you for that. I mean, that's a really nice message, right? Because when things are going good, it's like that's just it reminded me of when it was a David Hoffmeister video I saw where the guy was feeling guilty because he's like, we're at a party and we're eating all this food, and we're all this food is denying the bot, or what we're saying, we're triumphing over God because we're eating all this food. And David Hoffmeister said, no, we're eating all this food and we're having a fun time because we know it's not real. And that's like what we're celebrating.
That's it.
Anyway, it kind of just reminded me of that. So thank you for the response, and I will just go and be happy now for the rest of the night. Okay, so let's go to Kirsten K, also from Melbourne, Australia, I think, or Sydney, might be Sydney.
Hi,
Kirsten, take it away.
hi, from Sydney.
Sydney, that's right.
Hi,
Take it
Kirsten.
away.
Hi, Kate. Sorry, I'm in my car, so I hope my audio's all right.
It's
Oh,
fine.
great.
Yeah, my question is one that I sort of still trying to understand from what I've heard spoken about and what I've read. What is your understanding? The script is written. Who writes the script? I'm still trying to wrap my head around. Did we write that? Did we write that? You know, when we had that crazy idea of separating from God, like, do we separately write the script in our experience here on what we're perceiving here? Yeah, I get really confused. So any of your thoughts would be appreciated.
So I know for myself, I kept saying to the Holy Spirit, you know, explain to me about the script is written. I got to listen to Ken Wapnick about that and others. And Gary Renard's got, you know, Hart and Purser have got some great sections around the script is written. So basically, the script, everything that's going to happen is already happened. So we're going through. We think that we're on a timeline, but actually we're always in the same moment. But it feels like time, and the script is just whatever's going on. So the script was so the it's really sort of hard to explain in 2 minutes. I sort of feel like I'm trying to rush through it. Okay, because it does take a bit of time to explain it, so I'm just going to sort of start at the start. So when the tiny mad idea, the mind that, you know, the love and joy and happiness and playfulness that we are, it had this little thought, and it took it seriously. And so, you know, we stepped down and we believed it, and we forgot about where we were and who we were, and we felt guilty, and the guilt brings this sort of, you know, falling away from our true self, our true mind. So in that moment, the pain of that guilt was so bad that we pushed out a whole world and, you know, millions of scripts, millions of dream lifetimes, and we're seemingly playing them out. So the script for you, the way I was shown, especially in the last 12 months, the script, which is I did a video on it, is if you can really understand it, how so everything around you is going on, it's just happening. So the dream's happening and the characters are moving around and different things, but it's your response to it. So when you respond from the ego, you can't help but respond in a certain way, because if the ego comes in and says this is unfair treatment, you will react. So your script is your reaction to that. You're like asleep in a dream, reacting to something that's not real, but you think it's real. So the only other script is the Holy Spirit script, which is basically the script to awakening. And that's already happened as well. So all these things are constant paradoxes, and it's when we have a mind that's used to thinking in linear time, it's really hard to think holographically. So part of awakening is getting used to the holographic way of being and thinking. So you get out, your mind moves away from thinking in linear and, time and space, and it starts to move into more of a holographic way of things. So this other mind it brings about a different experience. So the easiest way, Kristen, is to think every time something happens, you have a choice. So you're choosing one script or the other script. But when you get an ego thought and it says this is unfair treatment, so say you're in your car and someone comes along right now and, bangs their fist on your bonnet, you could say, how dare they shouldn't have done that, that's unfair. You will automatically react from the thoughts that come into your mind, and so you will get up and maybe go out and say something to the person. That's the script. You can't help that reaction because you think they're your thoughts and you think that's your reaction. You think that you're a real person doing that and that you have rights. You're separate. That's a separate person. They did something to me because if I'm separate. And so I'm living out the script, but that script, we can't say that script is already over. So the only choice I have is if someone bangs the bonnet, bangs their fist on the bonnet for you to say, I am not a body, I am free. There's nothing to do here. Forgiveness is really just looking, waiting, and judging not. So I sit, I wait, I judge not, I let it go by. I confirm you something from the Course. The Spirit will just confirm something to you, like nothing real can be threatened. It's okay, just let it go by. I'll look after the car for you. You don't have to worry about it. Stay in peace. So you're now moving, in that moment, you've moved to the Holy Spirit script, there you go. So the rest, the stuff's just happening here in the dream. Just things are just going on. And all we do is respond all day long to it. So you're either responding with the ego or the Holy Spirit. It's the only choice you have. And they're the two scripts. So hopefully that's answered that, if that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, that's really helped put it into my mind. Yeah, much better. Thank you. I mean, we've got beautiful teachers, but sometimes we need to hear it said again and again and again for you to really hear it. So thank you. It really helped.
Thank you, Kirsten. All right, let's go to Sandy Peterson. You can unmute yourself now. Where are you calling in from, Sandy?
I'm in Wheaton, Illinois, west of the Chicago metropolitan area.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Sandy.
And my question, hi, Kate. My question for Kate, I'm not certain if this is really a course question, but certainly some of the stories that you described, you experienced some moments of bliss in the process of working through that visualization of washing your, that person's feet and then seeing yourself. Can you describe for us, for me, other moments where you have experienced states of bliss and just describe what that's like?
Okay, so in the awakening experience, which was just I stepped into the shower one morning and I just saw everything as God. It was like the wall was God, the shower was God, the water was God. I went to get dressed, the clothes were God. I went to get in my car, I was going to work. It was like everything was God. It was just like what I call a big soup of love. So it was like everything was just this love. The whole world changed to being, oh my God, everything's just love here. There's nothing but love. And that's what later on I realised he's describing the real world. And I could see that people thought they were people, that they thought they needed things. And it was like I knew that everyone was just this essence of love. and that and then so that was a real seeing. And then also there was another experience where I saw, which I alluded to before, I just saw that I was everything. I said, I'm the leaves on the tree, I'm the sky, I'm the dog barking. I couldn't feel myself to be anything except everything. I sort of seemed to disappear, and I was everything. I was in everything, as everything. I was the computer, the table, the book. It was sort of, and then there was just this, everything was one. I thought, actually, it's all one thing. It's not separate. It's all one. It's just this, if everything is love or God, then there's nothing else. And that's why it's one. So it's oneness. It just, but so I've had also experience of actually seeing how the mind had the tiny mad idea. I've also seen how everything actually looks like it's happening in linear time, but it's happening in a tiny tick of time, and it was answered. And every time we have a thought of separation, the answer's there. And it's the tiny mad idea didn't happening over and over. It didn't happen 2000 years ago or something. It's happening now, and it's always happening now, and the answer's there. So and I get like deja vu all day long, right? So, somebody will say something and there's just this has happened before. I know what they're going to say. I sometimes know what people are going to say or do or where they're going to sit. I'm not psychic or anything. I just say, this is how it's played out. I see everyone playing. Everyone, literally, the way I look at everything, the way I see people now is just they're really saying, hey, guess what? I've forgotten who I am, and I've just got all these fictitious problems and fictitious fears, and I'm going to pretend today to be a separate self, and I'm just going to tell you, Kate, all about my fictitious problems that I think are real. And they're all based on the idea that I think there's a me here. I think there's a real me here having these problems. And I think to myself, wow, if they could just see that there's no separate self, no person to have a problem. You're not what you think you are. Anyway, I'll stop there because I could talk for a long time about that. So that's what I see, that I can say that to you, but you won't get it. So what he does is he has to go right down. That's why he says, I have to start with your belief and your grievances, because they create or make the idea that you're a person and you're separate. Those thoughts and beliefs make it. So without those grievances and fears and thoughts, there's no separate person. You don't have to try to be an unseparate person. You have to undo your beliefs, fears, roles, ideas, everything. You have to let all these things in your mind be changed. That's why it's called a miracle. The miracle does them. And then you don't need any miracles because you're free. The miracles have done their job. They're a means, he says. So, thank you.
Wonderful question, Sandy. And wonderful answer, Kate. All right.
So I've seen things and experienced things I would never have thought I'd experienced. But it's God's mind. It's the mind of, and I had absolutely no awareness of this mind before. So, when you're sitting there and you're thinking, I've got no awareness of it, Kate's special, I'm like, no, I'm not. It's this, and this mind is beautiful. It has no ego in it, so it's great.
Yeah. It was cool to hear you talk about like seeing God as all these things, like the microphone, the computer, the body, the blender bottle, the phone, and just seeing it all as one. And really cool. Thank you for sharing that. Let's go to G. Speckert. First time caller.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Where are you calling in from?
Dallas.
Hi, George.
What's
Yeah.
your name? George. That's right.
George, yeah.
Yes, we've been chatting. Yes, welcome,
Yeah.
George. All right,
Thanks.
take it away.
Hey, I thought I would read something and see if you had a comment. This is from chapter 18, section 4, paragraph 7. It says, you are still convinced that your understanding is a powerful contribution to the truth and makes it what it is. Yet we have emphasized that you need understand nothing.
Yeah, that's the giving up. I just had to say, I just said, you know what? I know absolutely nothing, because anything I've thought has never brought me happiness. Any plan I've sort of tried to put into practice never brought me anything. So when you're at that state of thinking you know something, you really have to you have to trust, because you just have to say, I don't have to, it's not, I have to just say, I know nothing. Heal everything in my mind. Just heal it all. Show me how it's all rubbish. Show it to me, because I believe it's true. I believe I was assaulted. I believe this. I believe my daughter's a drug addict. You have to say to the Holy Spirit and Jesus, like, just, I know my understanding, because if the understanding is talking about in that quote is the ego. See, we do not have our own thoughts. We think we do, but we're either in the ego or the Holy Spirit. There's no Kate. There's only the ego and truth. And we're listening to lies. We're listening to lies about ourselves and about our brother and about the world all day long. They're not true. And we don't have to understand.
We're also
Yeah.
trying to figure out this stuff with a human brain that is probably not comprehensible
Yeah,
for us.
the brain does nothing. It's all part of the illusion. It's such, to get to truth, it seems like a big, like what I'm talking about, but basically I did it in 2 years. But I did read the course for 14 years before that, so I did have a good understanding. But what the thing about it is, you have to basically give up. You have to let go of every story, every grievance, every resentment, every idea you have about yourself. You have to just say, okay, this is the next thing, Holy Spirit, I've got this idea about this. So you just bring everything to him, everything. You say, okay, I'm seeing my daughter as a drug addict. Help me heal this belief. Give me another perception. So you have to say to yourself, any perception I have is wrong. If I'm seeing a brother as a drug addict, then that's wrong. That's a judgment. I need correction. I need a change of mind. I need to have it, but I don't bring it in, because I have to ask for it. They're not going to, Holy Spirit doesn't push, Jesus doesn't push us, because he knows our creative. See, we're creative. We're amazing. We've got so much love and ability, to love. He's not going to change us, because he knows our creative force. So we don't have to understand anything. There's no understanding of it. We have to give up and come, say, I need help. I need help with this, like every single moment of every day, say, hey, I need correction here. Hey, I'm thinking this, please correct me. You have to be like a little baby and tell yourself that everything you've ever thought is wrong. It's just, you might think it's right, but you have to be open to say, I know nothing. I absolutely know nothing, because everything I've ever done has not brought me happiness. And so that's freedom, to say, okay, I give up, I know nothing. They're all surrender, 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 surrender. I surrender to this, I surrender to you, and that leaves a space for the truth to come in, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to correct, it's going to, it's tender and it's loving, and it's going to say, oh, you're beautiful, you're holy, oh, your true self. It's going to bring you experiences of who you are. And it's lovely. You're gonna experience this love that is so amazing. You know, and all he says our part is so little. Like he says, you don't have to understand. Don't understand anything. Just release, surrender, give up, open up, say, hey, I know nothing today. You bring everything in. I'm not making any plans. You respond for me. You tell me about, just like that story about what I did with the bully at work. If I had have come in with my plan, I would have resigned from that job and went somewhere else. But he says in the course, you're going to find the same thing because it's you're projecting it. He says it's in you and you're finding it in the other. And I couldn't see that. So you have to say to the Holy Spirit, hey, I know you're telling me this. So you have to, first of all, accept the course's teachings as the truth. Trust it completely. And if you're not seeing it, you need help. You say, okay, I see what you're saying here, that my understanding's not needed. Okay, thank you. I'll let go of understanding anything. And you'll bring it in. Really, our part is so little, but we think we have to do all this stuff. And in a way, we do. We have to repeat, do the lessons, and we have to have the willingness, because that's all part of the mind training. So he's going to direct us. We have to develop that relationship with the inner guide. It's very important. If you've got a job, you don't have to leave it. You can just give it over. The Holy Spirit knows what you need, and will replenish it.
Yeah, because if we don't know anything, there better be somebody who does, right?
Well, that's what the trust is about. You build up the trust, but you have to trust first. You can't trust by relying on the ego and saying, I'll wait for the Holy Spirit to suddenly appear and do something and then I'll trust. No, you have to trust first. So give him something that is easy, give him something, that you feel all right with. And start trusting and then develop that trust.
Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
Thank you, George. Nice to have you on. All right, let's go to Chaz Stephen from California.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Chaz.
Beautiful.
This has been an incredible experience for me, Kate. I barely have words. After years of studying the course and not understanding it, and I had a special hate relationship with the course because I couldn't throw it away, but I hated it. Anyhow, I found Gary's book and everything has changed, and it's changed very quickly for me. And so what I wanted to share is that you have given words to the experiences that I've been having and have no real reference for at all. I don't have language for it. And coincidentally, Kate, my housemate recently passed away. It was a beautiful thing. My job ended. Many of my friends are in quarantine for COVID. So I have no job in the world and form. It's a very odd time for me. And I'm so thankful. The experiences that I've had very recently have completely altered, and they were so easy, and I was not in charge at all. Exactly what you're describing. And what I want to share with everybody is that I did not believe that no one was out there. I could understand the theory, but I didn't find it very helpful. I did not believe it. But I hit a spiritual bottom in quarantine where I had the willingness to forgive without exception. And I'm not kidding. I was at such a bottom, Kate. I remember opening my photo album from my childhood because nobody would be left out. Nobody would. I wanted to forgive, love, and embrace everybody, even people I hadn't thought of in 30 years. I was so excited. So I just wanted to share that the willingness is what started this avalanche for me personally. And I didn't even believe it necessarily. It was just the willingness. And
the willingness, yes.
And so I'm new at this and I'm not great at hearing the inner voice. And maybe I can contact you through Facebook because I feel like a new deer with not good leg coordination
Yes.
yet. And it's very
Yes.
strange being unemployed and living alone and, you know, blah, blah, blah. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing your story tonight. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you for your sharing, Chaz. That was lovely. Yeah, and I know that feeling as well. I couldn't speak about the experiences I was going through till a lot later on because they disorientate you, or you're saying, how can I tell people, you know, we're all love. There's nothing but love here, you know, people. So there's sort of, I ended up actually getting my own spiritual teacher after awakening because I needed somebody that could hear it. You know, so I know that, and that's what we're all here for. We can help each other. That's what we're doing. And you know, I just want to say thank you to Jared for everything he does. You know, he's just
Yes,
wonderful that
Jared.
he turns up every week and holds this group and
Yes.
organizes. I know he has helpers as well, so thank you to them as well. You know, we're all playing our part.
Thank you. Beautiful. Well, I think this is just perfect. And we're right at the top of the hour and there's no more questions. How lovely. I
Yeah.
want to thank everyone for being on tonight. I want to thank you, Kate, for being here for us and taking
Thank
time
you.
out of your day for us, um, and also for like all the great things you do on social media. If you're not following Cate Grieves on Facebook, you need to go make her a see first. You need to go to her timeline and you need to say follow see first, because every time Kate posts on Facebook, I see her first. It's like at the very top of my timeline, and it helps me, you know, like because I'm doing lots of business every day and my mind is not in the course. I'm out there, you know, doing what I do, but like I see Kate's stuff and it just helps me that day or that moment, you know. And so I want to encourage you all to do that. How can people find you, Kate? Don't you have like a private group as well? Zoom to Miracles with Cate Grieves or something? Tell us.
Yes. So I've sort of limited just into a couple of areas, which is I have a Facebook, I have my own profile, Cate Grieves on Facebook, but I also have the group Zoom to Miracles with Cate Grieves. So it's just the group where we have the Zoom meetings, and so all the information about the meetings that are occurring there, and anyone that's had any experiences from the meetings can share their experiences there. So it's sort of like we're all lifting each other up through the experiences that people are having from those meetings. I also have a YouTube channel. So I'm not, they're the only, I have a website, but it's really just a place to direct people to Facebook and YouTube. I don't, so it's just if someone was to search um, for that. So it's been an absolute pleasure to join, and really what I was guided because it's like how can you really help others? This is my question to Jesus. You know, how do we help? How do we help? And what came through was your certainty of this. This is so there's a certainty in the way I speak about it, and so there's no doubt. So when you listen to me, there's not one shred of doubt about the ending, because the ego has this huge, big story and fear about it, has its own, you know, rubbish story, the full of lies about what the Holy Son of God is. It's going to happen to the Holy Son of God when he realizes he's the Holy Son of God again, you know, because he forgot for a moment, you know. So it says it's going to be terrible. You're going to lose all your friends, going to lose your job. But hey, look at Chaz. I lost my job and there was great things that happened. You know, it's not all about having a job or you know, and then I was guided back to, you know, what we call traditional work. So you can guarantee that I'm just here to give you the certainty there's no sacrifice or loss from doing this course, applying the principles, really releasing yourself and surrendering. You've just got everything will change for you. You will just come to your life, but full of life. You see, he says that we're dead when we're in the ego, where we're not really living. So you don't have to leave the body, you don't have to leave the world, because it changes. You see it all differently. Your experience of it is different. So you know, I used to hate this world and tried to get out of it. Now I just see the beauty everywhere, because I just know who everyone is, and I know that nothing real can be threatened. So once you know your true self, that you're invulnerable, your true self, that's it. Your happiness, that's peace of God, lies in knowing that you're something that's invulnerable. It's not a body. So we have to let go of all the ideas that we're this tiny little body that can be hurt, and that, you know, we have to change. We have to go past the fear of God, the fear of death, the fear, you know, and come to it through holy relationship. So that's my little talk.
Yay.
And I just want to say one more little thing is that, you know, all there is oneness. All there is God. Everything else is an illusion. You're not a separate self. You're not an ego. You are the love of God. That's it. You cannot be anything other. You can pretend to be as long as you want. You can try to be something you're not. But it's excruciatingly painful to try and be something other than your true self. So try all day to be something that you're not. It's really suffering. You don't have to. He says this need not be. No, simply do this. Let everything go and just say, you know what? I'm just going to be my true self today.
Yes. So
and
beautiful.
live, you know, and like Jared said, oh, I'm not feeling anything. I'm not worried about anything. And I remember Gary Renard saying that years ago. Hey, if there's nothing to forgive, have a great time. You know, I skip along the beach. I say hello to everyone. I walk my dog. You know, I'm just full of life and happiness, because I know there's nothing to get. There's nothing to be. I don't have to achieve. I don't have to get approval from anyone, because I'm it. I'm totally approved of, totally worthy. I'm the love. I'm love of God. So why? I don't need anything to add to it. You know, there's nothing to add to the pure love of God. You can't add anything. So stop seeking. All seeking stops. Yep. Celebrate. And there's nothing to forgive. So if you've got something, work with the Holy Spirit. If there's nothing, if there's no triggers, have a good time. Enjoy yourself. Laugh, put some music on, dance, enjoy, go for walks. Just live. Just simply, absolutely live. It's about living. God is love and also happiness. So we were created as love and happiness. Like our natural state is happiness. So it's really like, I just want this message to be sort of really simplified in a way.
So beautiful.
So thank you, everyone.
That's the mic drop. That's the mic drop right there. That was a beautiful way to end the call. Well, Cate, thank you for your certainty. I like what you said about that. Man, you came out of this Zoom call just on fire right away. And but the certainty of everything you say, I think, is what really comes through. And so thank you for how you ended the call tonight. And we are all going to unmute right now and say thank you, Cate, and have an awesome day.
Thank you, Kay. Have an
Thank you,
awesome
Kate.
day. Thank
Have an
you,
awesome day.
Jared. Peace
Love
and
you.
love, everybody.
Love
you all.
Bye.
Love you.
Thanks, guys.
Blessings.
Love you all. Big
Peace.
virtual hug.
Thank you, Kate.
Virtual hug. Virtual kisses.
Again soon.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks,
Bye,
Jared.
everyone.
Thank you, lovey.
Thank you.
Love
Bye.
you.